Researchers say pollution in the Wabash River is improving, but the fish in the river are still struggling. In part 2 of our series, What's in the Wabash, we take a look at the river's main occupants, the fish.
Alexandra Dyro joins us now to tell us about the health of the fish in the Wabash. Alex?
Jeff, unfortunately, researchers say the fish are still struggling. It's not from the E. coli levels or even some of the other pollutants. And what's stressing out the fish could ultimately affect the people living around the river. The Wabash River is home to 120 different species of fish. Aquatic ecosystems expert Reuben Goforth says some of those fish, like the Tippecanoe darter, can only be found in the Wabash River system. Goforth also says what happens in the river doesn't stay in the river.
The ecosystems that are around us are suffering and not doing as well. That ultimately is going to have an effect on us. We may not realize it at the time, but ultimately that will have an effect on us. And so it really is in our best interests to worry about the fact that the fish are stressed out and that they're not doing as well.
The river is teeming with life, but Goforth says the fish population is struggling. He says with the large amounts of sediment flowing into the river, the fish are living in their own version of a dust bowl.
So we have a lot of small particulate matter, basically tiny pieces of sand, essentially, that go into the Wabash and its tributaries. And that does have an effect on fish. It can irritate their gills so that they're not as effective at breathing. It's kind of like us being in a dust storm.
Purdue Water Quality Coordinator Jane Frankenberger says there are other, more selfish reasons to care about the river's inhabitants. The amount of wildlife in and around the waters ultimately affect the quality of life for those living nearby.
It's still critical for the health of the community, for the environmental health, because there are so many organisms that live in it, and it's recreationally it's important, and there's very positive potential impacts on the economy, all from having a cleaner river.
One of the simplest ways to use the river recreationally is fishing. But are those fish safe to eat? Goforth says yes, in moderation.
People do it all the time. Would I do it? Sure. I actually have eaten fish out of the Wabash. Would I do it more than a couple times a month or once a month? Probably not, but that's actually true for just about any water body that you come across, at least in the Midwestern United States.
Goforth says some of the fish living in the Wabash are close to being endangered, and he's in the process of determining what exactly can be done to help the fish cope with the large amounts of sediment in the river. The work Goforth is doing to help the fish goes hand in hand with the efforts being made to improve water quality and cut back on sediment overflow. Those issues were discussed in the first part of our series last night. If you missed it, you can check it out online at WLFI.com. Alexandra Dyro, News Channel 18.